So yeah, okay. Have a good Shabbos, Dave.
Have a good Shabbos.
All right, so what do we get up to? The Mishna, right? Yeah. Okay, we're back to good old Yevamos Gemaras. I mean, not the classic Yevamos, but calculations nonetheless. Yeah. So we're talking about when people are allowed to eat truma, when they're not allowed to eat truma, right? So when a kohen marries a bas Yisroel, or a bas kohen marries a Yisroel, right? So that when do they become mutter? When do they become asa? So let's see the Mishna. Mishna Samach Zayin Amud Aleph. Yeah. Okay. So bas Yisroel, shenisas lekohen. You have a bas Yisroel who married a kohen. Umeis, and then he died. Ve'nicha muberes, and she was a muberes, right? So again, normally a bas Yisrael is obviously not allowed to eat truma. She gets married to a kohen, she's allowed to start eating truma. When the kohen dies, she has to stop eating truma because she's no longer has a connection to the kohen. However, if she has a baby, then she is allowed to continue eating truma because she has a connection to the kohen, even though the husband's not alive anymore. But since her kid is a kohen or a bas kohen, so therefore she has a connection to truma, she's allowed to. But what happens if she didn't leave it? There was no kids, but there was a fetus because she's pregnant. Right. So again, so bas Yisrael, she married a kohen umeis, and then he died, and she was pregnant. Then, so now is that enough? Is her being pregnant enough to enable her to eat truma? So Mishna says, "Lo yochlu avadeh b'truma." Her avadim are not allowed to eat truma. Which avadim? Obviously, the tzayin barzel, the nefsim milug ones, the ones that she retains ownership of course not. But even the ones that he retains ownership of, she can't feed them truma. Why? Because of the chelek of the fetus. I had a hard time understanding this exactly, but it seems like since the fetus is going to yarshin the father, whenever the fetus is born, there's going to be an automatic Yerusha there. So, therefore, these kohanim belong to the fetus, right? So, and then what?
The avodim.
I'm sorry, the avodim. Thank you. The avodim belong to the fetus. So when he's a fetus, it's not enough, and therefore they cannot feed the fetus. The mother herself, I should have said that. The mother herself, who's pregnant, is allowed to eat truma. Right? Yeah, and then the case in the Mishnah is even we're talking about if she's left pregnant. Meaning it's not just that she has. It says even if she has other sons already, which means that she's allowed to eat truma because she has kids. However, if as long as she's pregnant, there's a problem. Why? Because that fetus is entitled, if the fetus is a male, is entitled to an equal portion of the Yerusha. So if that's the case, they can't allow the avodim to eat because the fetus is blocking the other brothers from allowing the avodim to eat. Right? So we'll see in the Gemara why that is. Why Shah Uber Paisel, a fetus can make people puzzle from eating truma, but the fetus will not allow somebody to feed avodim truma. Divrei Rabbi Yosef. Meaning, so when Shemana Ober Paisel, which we'll see in the next Mishnah, Ober Paisel means that if you have the opposite case, where you have a bas kohen who marries a Yisroel, and the Yisroel dies, and she's pregnant, so she's considered like she's still a Yisroel, and she's not allowed to eat truma, even though she's going back to her father's house. So an Ober can passel, but it doesn't have the power to allow avodim to eat. Right? Meaning we go l'chumra both ways. So Amrullah, so they said back to Rav Yossi, since you said edus to us about a bas Yisrael marrying a kohen, then if the whole issue is because there's a fetus here, so af bas kohen lekohen umeis v'nichem uberes. Even a bas kohen who marries a kohen and he dies and she's pregnant, the slave shouldn't eat it. Meaning, if the portion of the Yerusha of the Uber is the problem, so what's the difference if it's a bas Yisrael that's married to a kohen or a bas kohen that's married to a kohen? You're saying that the Uber is the issue, so it makes no difference who it is, right? Okay, so that's what the Mishnah said.
What's that? A bas kohen marrying a kohen, the Uber is still an issue?
Yes, that's what they're saying. Yeah.
So what happens if Yisroel is marrying a kohen? A bas Yisrael marrying a kohen?
Then the Uber issues. The issue is that when a woman has a fetus, then that's gonna not allow avodim to eat. It has nothing to do with that it's a kohen or a Yisroel. We're gonna see. Let's see the next line in the Gemara. Well, it'll get a little clearer, I hope. Right? What's wrong with a fetus? What does a fetus change anything? Why should a fetus change whether avodim can eat truma or not? So let's see. So they asked, time of the Rav Yossi, Mishum de Kasavar Uber b'mei zara zarhu. Right? Does he hold because a fetus in a zar, who's a zara, meaning a female who's a Yisrael? A zara is a code word for strange. It literally means stranger, but it means a Yisrael. Is a fetus in the womb of a Yisrael considered a Yisrael, right? And the Mamela, that means that the slaves are owned by who? Somebody who's not a kohen, and they can't eat truma, right? Because the portion of these slaves is owned by this fetus who's not a kohen, so then they can't eat. Is that the reason? Right? Oidoma yilud meichel she'ena yilud eina meichel. Only something that's born or can feed truma. Something that's not born cannot feed truma. Right? And meaning, according to the second reason, it's even if it's a kohen. Obviously, according to the first reason, if it's a kohen's fetus, if the mother is a bas kohen, then it wouldn't be a problem. According to the second reason, it doesn't help, right? So that would be the nafkamina, which Gemara is going to say. So Gemara says lamai nafkamina, right? What's the difference? Leuber b'mei kohenes. The difference would be to an uber that's in the mother and the father are both kohanim. So if the uber is in the mother's, if you go with the first reason that a fetus doesn't become a kohen until it's born, right? So then you understand. So then that's the first reason. But the second reason, it doesn't make a difference. Even if it's a kohen, a fetus does not have the power to allow avodim to eat. You know where this comes up is, can a pregnant kohen, or a pregnant woman who's married to a kohen, whether she's a bas kohen or not, go to a cemetery or a levaya? Right? What's with the fetus? Right? I mean, if it's a girl,
we have the shiloh all the time, no?
Correct. So Lamaisa, the Shaf says that the Shaf says that the mother's allowed to go to the levaya and allowed to go to the cemetery because it's a svek sveika. Right? It's a suffix whether it's an issue or not, and it's a suffix if it's a boy or a girl. Right? So since it's a svek sveika, therefore she's a mother, and that's the way we paskin.
No, what if the uber is a girl? I don't understand what's the difference.
A bas kohen could become tummy.
It's Yaakov. Does it matter if you find out what the baby is first? Does that get rid of the svek sveika if you know it's a boy?
Oh, so very good. So this is going to come up in a couple of blocks from now. So let's say you take a sonogram and you find out that it's a boy. Does that take away the svek sveika? Do we say the technology, that we believe the technology or not? Yeah.
Yaakov, I don't know which religion the Shach is a member of, but he lets pregnant ladies go to the cemetery. That's
He must not have been a Chassidish. That's the maybe just to the levaya. But that's very good.
It's Yaakov. The Yakis don't let women ever go to the cemetery.
Oh yeah.
The chal.
Interesting. Yeah, I think Chassidim also don't let. I think.
I think just for the Levaya,
there's a common ground between Yekis and Chassidim. How's that? You found it.
I thought it was just for the Levaya. That could be. It could be not.
Um,
The shilas that I've asked, the postkins that I've asked, they said that Asha's Cohen that's pregnant does not go to a cemetery.
yeah, I never heard anybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean the Shach says it's mutter, and I'm pretty sure that's what we go with. But okay, I guess not. Maybe holy Kahanim like you. Maybe they said you can't.
Asha's Cohen.
Oh, okay. Asha's chaver kechaver, whatever. Ishta kegufa. All right, I don't know. I mean, I'll look into it again, but I always assume that the Shach says.
Yaakov, we're not your ghost, like what Avi just said. The women don't go pregnant.
Yeah. I don't know. You guys seem very from a kahanim. I don't know.
It's just by me, you know who my father is, so that's that's what he gave us over.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know. I'll look back into it, but I thought that the minhag was that they do go. Okay, whatever it is. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so that's enough kamina. So what's the bottom line? Another thing that I don't understand in the Gemara says, okay, which reason do we go with? Do we go that the fetus is considered a Yisroel until it's born, or do we go with that a fetus cannot allow its slaves to eat? So Amarabba, I know time of the Rabbi Yosef, the Kasava over Zara Zarhu. And Rabbi Yosef Amar, Yilud Michael, Shane Yilud Eina Michael. So very nice. So he asked, what's the din? And we get two more people arguing on the same exact thing. All right. Okay, I don't know what that helped. Either way. So Meisvei, so they ask a kasha now
There's no difference in psak halacha between a shaila and the machlekes in psak.
What do you mean?
The Gemara asked it as a shaila. The answer is machlekes in psak, same as everything else.
I mean, it was the same question as before. What was it asking about it before?
Machlekes. The answer is it's a machlekes. Both are true, or whatever.
Right.
The Gemara holds that a born kohen can entitle the slaves to eat terumah, even if it's a katana.
What do you mean if it's a katana?
Meaning if a 3-year-old boy can allow a slave to eat terumah, doesn't have das.
Doesn't have. I don't think it needs das. It just has to be the connection to the kohen. No,
so what's the difference between a born child and an unborn child then?
Oh, so yeah, right. So that's that.
If it's not das, then what's the difference?
Right. So I don't.
You must be a Republican, Avi.
I'm a conservative, whatever that.
Yeah, I understand. That's why I understand.
It's red. He's red. That's That's I don't clearly understand it. To be honest, I'm saying I don't understand why should a fetus not be able to. I understand the first reason. If you want to say he's not a kohen, fine. But why not? Right? Because even if he gets the Yerusha, so he gets the Yerusha. Unless it's not his kesef. It says kinyan kaspai.
Can a Yoresh decide what to do with his inheritance while he's still a katana?
Can a Yoresh decide? I don't know.
Because this isn't a din in kahuna. This is a din in
Yerusha. Yeah, it's not a din in kahuna. Oh, it could be out kinyan kaspai. It could be out the pasuk kinyan kaspai, and this is not considered kinyan kaspai.
I don't understand it either way. If the wife of the kohen, Bas Yisrael Shenis the kohen, who the kohen dies, she remains a kohenes if she has kids from him.
Correct.
Because she's still the wife of the kohen. She's still considered that.
No, not in the porch, but
the question here is why, when she's muberes, does she not eat?
Right.
She doesn't have yet.
Because what happens is that one portion of the slaves, one portion of the slave is owned by a fetus, and for whatever reason, the fetus does not have kinyan kesef. So meaning he doesn't have kinyan.
That's
the
what?
fetus.
So the avadim are hers.
No,
Even
we're
if they
talking
have
about
hers.
Son Barzel. We're talking about Son Barzel.
So they're hers. They belong to her.
No, Son Barzel are his.
No, when he dies, they go back to her.
No, they go to his Yarshim. The Yarshim are in charge. No, they have to give it back.
They have to give it back. Ultimately,
but
they
it's still-
belong to her. To her, Kenyan Kasset.
No, it's not. It's not. I think. All
I
right.
thought it was she can't eat because she's a Zara. She's a Bas
Like,
Yisrael.
look at the first Rashi in the Mishnah. We're in the first Rashi in Mishnah. Okay, we got to get moving here. Otherwise, what time is Mincha, Aaron? Aaron Kappa, what time is Mincha?
I have Mincha 6:20. I don't know what anybody else says.
I mean, it's 6:45. It's middle.
Oh, you guys do the Stam Tarti the Sasri. Okay, so you're not.
Yeah.
You don't count. You don't count. All right.
We're annoying on the second plug.
I hear you.
I do 7, so I'm totally messed up.
You're
No,
told,
that's good. David, that's good.
Why is it good?
One second. Darche has a minion at 6:55.
That's the second
okay,
plug.
these
The mug of the
guys-
rock.
I guess you could,
okay.
yeah, but I don't ride a bike now, Sully, so I can't go to Dache at 6:55. It can help me.
What? What? What does that do with anything?
Now, if you wanted to do it right, you daven Mincha in the 6:20 minyanim,
Yeah,
and
I tell
then
you.
you daven
Yeah, go
Ma'ariv
down
the
and
later
go there.
ones.
You
Or
go home, be
whatever.
kiddish. You can go down and later. Traumatized
Or just make Lake
childhood.
Shabbos. Just make Lake Shabbos like the real.
I guess we don't want to
do.
do it right.
Traumatized childhood.
I hear that. Anyways, okay, so Meisvei, yeah, so they asked the Kasha. Amru lo Rav Yosef. So they said to Rav Yosef, "May achar shad the lano." Right? What did the Chachamim in the end of the Mishnah say after you said Eidos to us? That a Bas Yisrael to a kohen, Bas kohen le kohen mahu. What's the din with a Bas kohen to a kohen? Amru lahem zu shamati v'zu lo shamati. Meaning, what would Rabbi Yossi? They said to Rabbi Yossi, "Why didn't you say anything about kohen and a bas kohen?" So he said back to them, "Well, I only heard about a case of a bas Yisrael marrying a kohen. I didn't hear about anything about a kohen marrying a kohen." And meaning, and he heard that it was mutter. I didn't hear that it was also. So now, okay. So if you say that the reason why the fetus is not going to allow the avodim to eat truma is because a fetus inside the womb is considered a Yisrael, not a kohen. That's why he says, I heard a psak about a bas Yisrael whose fetus is not a kohen until it's born, and the other one, v'zu lo shamati, and I didn't hear about a kohen marrying a bas kohen because it's a total different din, because that fetus for sure is a kohen in utero, right? Because the mother's a bas kohen and the father's a kohen. But if you say the reason is because for whatever reason a fetus will not allow a avodim to eat truma, and if it's not born, it will not allow. What do you mean? I heard this and I didn't hear this. Right? It's the same exact case. If a fetus doesn't allow avodim to eat, so it doesn't allow avodim to eat, regardless of whether its mother is a bas kohen or Yisrael. So the Gemara answers with our classic Yevamos. Somebody should take for Chaim. We could ask him. Does Yevamos have the maximum shot kashas asking the Gemara that leave off with a kasha? I think so. I think so. Almost every daf or every couple of daf has a kasha, right? Okay, you know what? Machazik me. What should I tell you? Okay, well, you know the places you get your chizik from when you're desperate. Fine. So Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Zudim Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel said, "This is Rabbi Yossi shita. Chachamim imrim yesh lo banim oichlem mishum banim." If there are kids there, meaning if there are other kids, right? We said on our Mishna we're talking about even if they have other kids. Now the Chachamim are saying no. If he has other kids, oichlem mishum banim, then they could eat truma because of the sons, right? Because the sons are the Yarshim, right? And Mamela, the Avodim are owned by the sons, and so therefore they're allowed to eat truma. Ain't loibanim, but if he has no other kids and the only Yairish is the fetus, then Oichlem Mishum Achim, then he's allowed to eat because of the brothers. Okay, now this is tricky. We just said there's no brothers, right? It means the uncles. It means the dead kohen's brothers because they're Yarshim. Ein lo achim, and if he doesn't have brothers, oichlem mishum mishpacha kula, then he could just go to the next generation. Meaning, we know that every yid has somebody to Yarshim because everybody there's a yid out there somewhere, a A ger doesn't have this, but a yid has it. So the Chacham is saying there has to be somewhere out there a relative that's a kohen, right? And then Mamela, they can eat it because of that. So the Gemara says zu. So then now the Gemara says when he said zu lo shamati, right? I'm sorry, not zu lo shamati. When it said, where is it? I lost the place now. That's what he says. So what does he mean by zu? Zu divrei Rabbi Yossi. When Yehuda Shmuel says these are the words of Rabbi Yossi, the Chachamim disagree. What does he mean to say by zu? Zu v'lo svirulei means this is it, but he doesn't hold of it. How could that be? Ha'amar leShmuel Rav Chana b'Gadta, right? Shmuel told Rav Chana b'Gadta, "Puk isoli be'asaru, go bring me 10 people, the emalach banfayu, so that I could say in front of them, hamazakal uber kana, that somebody who is, this is what you were asking, Avi, who you could be, if you could be mezakah something to a fetus. A fetus has the power to purchase something. So if the fetus has the power to purchase something, then the person can do that. Okay, fine. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I'll bring it there. So I'm sorry. So I'm a zakir uber kana. So you see that an uber can be kind of something. So therefore the Chachamim, so it works. Elazu, what it must. So it has to be that he does agree. Elazu v'svirulei, it must be it's zu and he holds of it. So my kamash malon. So what's Shmuel teaching us? The pligi Rabbanan leder Rabbi Yossi, that the Rabbanan disagree Rabbi Yossi and hold that the fetus can allow the avadim to eat terumah. Umi pligi, and do they disagree? Right. So Massive Rav Zakkai asked, Zu edus heyed Rabbi Yossi mipi shmai v'avtalion, when that he said Rabbi Yossi said this edus from Shmai and Avtalion, right? V'hayduloi, and the Chachamim were minded to him, right? So it must be that there's no disagreement here between the Chachamim and Rabbi Yossi about whether a fetus has the power to allow avadim to eat, right?
This line essentially answers the kasha of the Gemara before, the kasha. That's why he can say Shemati Zula Shema. It's not his halakha. So he was masufik. Which one? Is it Yumud Ma'achil or is it Oba B'mei Zara?
I hear.
So that's Shemati Zula Shemati. It's not his.
Okay, I didn't think about that. Okay. It's funny that we're saying that because my Eved just asked me. That's what I stopped for payment. My Eved came over. See, it's mamish. I forgot to give to the Eved. Okay, so Ravash, yeah. So Mikatani the Kiblu, right? Does it say the Kiblu? It doesn't say that they will makabel it from. It says v'haydulai, right? That they were minded to it Katani. The Mistaver Tame. So all is that. See, it's again, there's one of these Gemaras where Haidulai means, it says Haidulai, they agreed to him. They were saying, oh no, Haidulai doesn't mean that they agreed to him in halacha. They agreed to him that they understand his svara, where he's coming from about the fetus, but they're still disagreeing. They're saying, oh, Maida, you have a good svara, but so what? We're still disagreeing. Right? And the reason is pashtus is because they had a Messiah about how to paskin it, and it wasn't that way. Okay, so Tanaraban, Hiniach Banim, right? If the kohen, if he left sons, the kohen died and he left sons. So the both types of slaves, right? The miluk slaves, which belong to the wife, and the tzayin barzel slaves that belong to the husband, you're allowed to eat. They're allowed to eat truma. Hinicha me'uberes. But if she was only a muberes and there was no brothers, both slaves can't eat, right? Because the fetus is nothing. That's like Rabbi Yossi. But let's say they left brothers and she was pregnant. So then the Abdemilug, which is her servants, right? The ones that she kept, they're allowed to eat because she's allowed to eat, so they're allowed to eat. Abdeit Tzayin Barzel, but the Abdeit Tzayin Barzel lo yochlu ifnei chelko shel uber, because of the chelik of the uber. So uber paisel, like we said in the Mishna, the uber makes things possible, and he does not allow anybody to eat the Rabbi Yossi. So that's just another version of Rabbi Yossi with a little more clarity. Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yossi, right? Rabbi Shmuel, who's Rabbi Yossi's son, Now, right now, the Gemara seems to think that he's disagreeing with his father, but he's can't. But the problem is that he's saying in the name of his father, meaning he's not. Meaning what he's saying over b'shem his father seems to possibly be different than what everybody else is saying in the name of his father. Right? Habas machelis. If there's a daughter, then that will allow the avodim to eat. Haben ain't but a son is not going to allow them to eat. We're going to see on the base what this means. Reb Shimon bar Yochai says Chachamim yochlu. So Chachamim, if there's multiple boys, they can allow the slave to eat kulan nekevus, but if they're all girls, then lo yochlu, then they're not allowed to eat. Shema yimtza uber zacher, because let's say she's pregnant, right? Again, that's all girls, and she's pregnant, and that pregnancy is a zacher. Ve'ein levana is b'makom haben klum, and the daughters have nothing, right? The girls don't yashin anything. So if that fetus is a boy, and all he has is sisters till then, right? Then he's the sole owner of everything. And since he's a fetus, he can't feed. He cannot feed the terumah. So the Gemara says, "My ear yishem yimtza uber zachar." So what do you mean that perhaps you're going to find the fetus to be a zachar and he's going to own everything? Typically, the nekeva nami pasla. Why don't you just say that a nekeva, even if it's a female, she's also going to pasel it, right? Because we said anything everything is the kavas, then even if she's in a kava, she has a chelik. Meaning, why don't we just say that any fetus makes it possible, like we were saying before? So when it says chadav, yes, you're right. It's saying one reason, but there's other reasons. Chadav the nekeva nami possible. First is that a nekeva, a female fetus, also makes possible. And another reason is because you may find an uber that's the zachar. Fine. And the daughters have nothing when there's a son. So charim, right? So that's it. So then the Gemara says charim yoichlu. So if there's charim, then they're allowed to eat truma. Va'ika uber. But what's with the uber? Right? So the Gemara answers kasavar on Tamid Beis now. Ein chayshish in the miuta. We're not chayshish for a miut. Right? We're not afraid that this uber is a zachar. Right? And that he has a chelik. Now, why? Because you go with the majority, and the majority chance is that it's not a male. Now, why is that? Right? I mean, why? So you want to say that it's a riot to the shidduch crisis, that the majority of being born are girls. That's what it's a shortage. No, that's not what it's saying. There's three possible outcomes out of a pregnancy. There's boy, there's girl, and then there's miscarriage. Right?
Why don't you say half the miscarriages are boys? What's the difference?
But I guess if there's a miscarriage, then there's nothing. Then the boy is not going to have any bilus. I mean, how do you know when?
Okay.
I guess that has to do with you're right. I guess that has to do with whether fetus you can get kind of something on behalf of a fetus. But whatever it is,
isn't there I don't know the right name, tumtum, whatever. There's with both not covered. Not only boy girl. So we just had it a few days ago, right? Avram was covered, and then we have the Gemara that they're both.
Tumtum van Dragonus.
Yes, I don't remember the name.
I mean, that's also an option of a kid.
Yeah.
Here. But that's a real miyut, so maybe you're not chayshish for a miyut on a
Aren't
miyut.
those minorities to begin with?
Right. So I don't know, but
I'm not saying you're chayshish for them though.
what?
That ultimately Zacharim are a miyut. So are they. They're all miyutim. Zachar is a miyut, and a cave is a miyut, and Tumtum is a miyut, and a dragon is a miyut, and Nafel is a miyut. They're all miyutim. But
Right,
connected
but
all the other ones, the Zachar is a miyut.
Yeah. Whatever it is, the bottom line is if you go with miscarriage and females, the chances of a boy being born is a minority. Yeah. So, anyways, so Viba Esema.
Said one second. Said better. A boy is lavdafka the majority.
Okay, that's okay. Well, Gerson's not liking that.
It won't help. We need it to be a miyut in order not to be chayshish for it. It needs to be batul baroi.
Yeah, but if you have 49%, 49.5% or whatever, and 49.5%, and then 1%, there's no roiv on anything.
Yeah,
That's
but
the
it's
point.
not buckle. It's still not buckle. You would still be choshen for it.
It's not a binary choice. The bottom line is it's not a binary choice. That's all.
I hear. When I heard the word binary, that also makes me.
Binary means one or the other.
I understand. I
So
think
it's
I
nixim
understand.
it's nixim look time baza.
I think we all got it, Pondi.
And carbonas and whatever. Anyways, let's go back. Yeah, so Biba is saying, "La'olam kasavar chayshish in leviyuta." We are chayshish for the miyut that it might be a zacher. Davdina le takanta, but we do a takana, right? Somebody brought this up before. Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel, like Rav Nachman Shmuel, Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel, Yisaimim shabo lachlik v'nichsei aviyam. If you have Yisaimim, right? Somebody passes away young and he leaves a lot of young kids, so they need to. We split up the belongings from the father. So how? By Bezdin, Ma'amidim Lem Apotropos. Bezdin appoints for them how you touch Apotropos? Like what do you call it? It's a guardian, but there's a
guardian?
word. Yeah, but I'm saying there's a word. Like what?
Administrator.
Administrator or something like that. What's the guy that takes care of the will?
A conservatorship.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
An executor, you want
yeah.
that word?
Aaron's like, nobody's gonna. I mean, if there's anybody that knows, it's you. No.
We had no apotropos.
You don't know. You didn't need it because you're a smart guy.
Your mother was the apotropos.
Anyway, so Bezdin Ma'amidim Lem Apotropos. So Bezdin was Ma'amid Apotropos Ubar Lehem Chelek Yosef. They choose the nicest piece. Igdilu, and when they get older, they can make a macha, right? Because everybody loves making a macha, so they can make a macha. If they don't like what the apotropos did for them, they can make a macha. But Rav Nachman himself says Igdilu and Yichal. They're not allowed to make a macha. Dim kain makoyach Bezdin Yofes. And what does Bezdin help if they can do that? So basically, what he's saying is that even though it's a fetus, but since Bezdin has this thing for Yisaimim that they're going to appoint people to allow to take care of it, so therefore this fetus can have a chelik in the slaves, and therefore the chelik, the slaves will be able to eat truma. Okay, so Lemer Rav Nachman Tanoi. So since Rav Shimon Bar Yochai and Rav Yishmael Bar Yosi, they're all having a machlokes, so maybe they're having a machlokes about Rav Nachman. So maybe what Rav Nachman said is itself a machlokes Tanoim. So when it says like the Kuliyama is the Rav Nachman, everybody holds of Rav Nachman's rule that you're allowed, that you appoint apotropos for your son. But the whole machlokes is whether we're chayish for the minority of whether this fetus is going to be a boy or not. Okay, now the Gemara tries to figure out what Rabbi Shmuel Bar Yosi is saying. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Yosi, Aimer Mishum Aviv, he said the name of his father. Habas Michael, the daughter allows the other people to eat truma, and Haben Eina Michael, but the son does not allow. So Gemara asks, Ma'ishno ben Deloy Michael Mishum Chelka Shel Uber. The reason why the son is not allowed to feed, meaning if there's other brothers, the chelik of the Uber, who's not born yet, stops them from having ownership on the avodim, so therefore the Aved cannot eat truma. So why, if there's a daughter, she has to be worried about the portion that belongs to the fetus. So why should a daughter be allowed? So this is a new rule, which is called nechasim muadim. It's talking about where the guy that died, the kohen that died, had very few belongings. And like Rashi says, it was takanas Chachamim that when there's very few things for the Yerusha, then the daughters get it, and the sons have to go schnorring door to door to live, because they were afraid that since the boys yashin, they're going to abandon the sisters. So the Chacham made a takana when there's not too much in the Yerusha, so the daughters get it. Okugain diika ben bahadi bas. We're talking about where there's a son and a daughter, so it doesn't mean just straight daughters. It's talking about where there's a son and a daughter, right? So Manavshach, either way you look at it, if the fetus is a son, he's no stronger than the son that's alive. And if it's a daughter, why is she allowed to eat it? The takana de rabbanon, because of the takana de rabbanon. But kama de loynafik la'avir ha'olam, when the Chachamim made it takana only when it's alive. But if it hasn't gone out to the world yet, like the kino rabbanon, the rabbanon made no takana that this fetus gets the Yerusha. Right? Again, the Chachamim made a takana that the daughters should get the Yerusha and the sons have to go schnorring. That's only when the daughters were alive. If the daughters were not alive, then it's not. Fine. So it says, so what are we talking about? We're talking about nechasim that are a small amount. And look at the sefer. Shema yivza ober zachar. The sefer says maybe the ober is going to be a zachar. Vein lebnais b'makam ben klum. And the daughters don't have anything. When there's a son, right? When there's a son, the son yashins everything. Adarabba. We just said that when there's small amounts of money that are being yashin, then it goes to the daughters, not to the sons. So how are you saying that it goes to the son? So Gemara says, no, the Sefer is talking about a case where he died with a lot of money. The Reish is talking about a case where he died with a small amount of money, and the Sefer is talking about where he died with a lot of money. So okay, so then the Gemara asks, right? Is the nechasim muatim going to the daughters? Can that be? If the assignment jump and they sell the nechasim muatim, what they sell, they sell. Meaning, even though they're not allowed to take the Yerusha, because the Yerusha goes to the daughters, but if the boys jumped it and they took it and they sold it, then that's fine, right? So you see that there is some sort of ownership with the boys. Velamai pas the katani, and this is a hard term, not a hard term to understand, but I mean, what does the bas mean? It doesn't mean that the bas, it means the mother, right? Which essentially is just a fancy way of saying the kohen's wife. Right, meaning when there's a mother there, then she's allowed to. Then her avadim are allowed to eat the terumah, right? But the son, who's tzayin barzel, are not allowed to eat terumah, right? So that's what it means. And when it says bas, it means mother. So then Gemara says ihachi hainu Rav Yossi. So then what Rabbi Shmuel Rav Yossi said is exactly what Rav Yossi said. Right. So what was Rabbi Shmuel saying different from his father that his father had said? Meaning it's talking about where there's no daughter, it's just the son. So when it says Kulu Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi Katanila, really this whole thing was Rabbi Shmuel talking in there Rabbi Yossi, and really it's one long thing. Okay, it's a little hard to understand this, but it's not easy. But anyways, okay, we'll stop over here because it's a whole new sugi with this Mishna. Fine. All right.
What?
Have yourselves a fine Shabbos. Fine and healthy Shabbos.
What time tomorrow night?
10.
10.
Thank you.
What time tomorrow afternoon?
10.
6:30 6:30 followed by Mincha.
6:30 followed by Mincha. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Yaakov,
Okay,
mommy's
Shabbos.
having guests stay over. Can you just ask one of the kids to make sure the air conditioners, if they want it? I don't know what they want. I know I'm hot, but
They're not going to care. They're not. They're just, in the bedrooms.
I don't know. I just know I'm boiling. I put my air conditioners in.
All right, you're still doing minion tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You have a minion, right?